I'm going to do a quick take on the Jeff Koonz material about linebackers and special teams, inside linebackers and special teams. Then I'll get to Sean Reagan, the quarterbacks, and my take on those. There's some common themes running through pretty much all of the interviews, and that's the case with the Koonz interview. One of the big things of note, he has more inside linebackers who will be traveling than he's had since he's been at West Virginia. About 5 or 6, including the regular defensive depth chart and special teams players. So, once again, depth is resolving. So, that bodes well. Of course, you need guys who can play. Just having guys at the position doesn't make a difference. But I think these guys can play. We've got Faveras, Lathan, Cutter. And he did say Cutter looks to make a contribution this year. All of the linebackers have put on weight and speed. And that's the Mike Joseph effect. So, Faveras was already dang fast. So if he's put on weight and speed, we've got a player. Also talked about effort and physicality being the main deciders on who will play. It's not just doing your job in the most basic sense. You got to make plays, and making plays comes through effort, physicality. In terms of the special teams, and man, things are just getting so detailed. I'm glad we don't have to sit on the couch at home and think about all of this. But they specifically want over 60% fair catches on the punts. And he again noted that Oliver Straw gives a lot of possibilities with the punt team, a lot of different spins, really messes with the heads of the guys on the punt return teams. So they hope that will continue. Also noted that he had about a 41-yard average last year on the net. If we can up that by 2 to 3 yards, it'll should put us top 5 in the country. So we got goals. Now, I said in an earlier video, yeah, you want to punt as little as possible. Okay, you want to score as much as possible. You don't want to avoid punts by having turnovers. But there were some issues with special teams in Friday's practice, but more than likely it is a passing thing. It is not something that has been coming up on a regular basis this year. One bad practice does not spoil the season. You couldn't tell it from some of the people on the boards who take every blasted single opportunity to make fun of Neo Brown, and I'm getting pretty dang tired of it. I hope when West Virginia wins, these people will just go away. All right. Quarterbacks. I'm going to take a run through some of the things that Reagan said. Then I'll go over some of what I think it might mean. I did point out with Marchiol, talented, we know. It's sort of an ebb and flow. He makes mistakes, but then he recovers, makes good plays. We heard much the same thing earlier. Greene, athletic, we know. He's improving with his eyes, but he sometimes thinks too much instead of reacting. Got to talk about that later. He feels like we're in good spot with plenty of time left to get where they need to be. And last year's experience in games definitely helping both guys. One of the things, and this hasn't gotten really talked about, I don't know why, They are doing new install material every day so far. Most of the mistakes that have been made have been with the new material, and they don't tend to make the same mistake twice. Okay, that's fair. You know you're going to make mistakes. They're cleaning up their act as they go, so that's good. Okay, it's the same plan whether it's Greene or Marchiol. A lot of people talk about the differences between these two guys. I don't know why. The coaches consistently talk more about how they are similar. Yes, okay, no commentary, let's just run through this first. Fall camp, they try to run through everything that they might use anytime during the season. Even if they're only going to use it in one game or two games somewhere along the line, they try to at least have done it all. Boyle's also come a long way. Mike Joseph's care is preventing arm trouble. They really haven't had much in terms of arm trouble. And you hardly hear an interview without a tribute to Mike Joseph. Man, we are lucky to have him. Good scrimmage means making good decisions, and making the right decisions is what's going to be the number one deciding factor on who starts. They want 90% or higher right decision. Right now the room average is about 86%. I'll take that as a start. He did not have or give numbers for any of the individual quarterbacks. Greene is night and day at controlling his emotion. Still got to play with emotion, but he does not let the emotion dominate him. That was one of his problems. The way they're working this, the coaches set the parameters. The quarterbacks are allowed to ad-lib within those parameters. Now, ad-lib means whether they run or not. It does not mean changing plays. They are rarely, if ever, allowed to make major changes in the plays. Maybe some minor adjustments. And also, if teaching them to keep their eyes downfield, but if they get to that third or fourth read, run. Don't just stay back there and keep hoping something will happen. So they really don't want the quarterbacks running too much. Yes, we need a running quarterback. But they're working with parameters. Not trying to undo something they do well, which is another gripe on the boards. Okay, what do I think some of this means? Just kind of interpreting from multiple interviews on the decision making, it sounds like Marchiol and Greene are both making the right decisions. So where's the possible separation? I think some of it's the speed of the decisions. Now, it used to be Greene, he made his decisions so fast it wasn't a decision. That's where his mistakes were. He got the ball and he went. He did not make reads. He didn't think too much. He didn't think at all. And it wasn't even fair to say he was reacting, because he didn't use his eyes. I think that's something Reagan has done well with. So I think in terms of speed of decision, Greene is in a pretty good place. He maybe is overthinking a little bit too much at times, but a lot of the time, we saw in the spring game, he was taking his time, but not taking too much time. I think Marchiol's decision making is a hair slow. And when you're just a tad slow making the right decision, your timing is off. And Marchiol, we know Greene and Marchiol have a high confidence level. But I think right now Marchiol is not his confidence isn't sharp enough to make the decision and go. So tad slow makes him maybe a tad hesitant on the throw. So that is not necessarily a broad line to cross. Things can fall into place at any moment, maybe gradually, maybe suddenly. I don't think it will move Marchiol ahead of Greene. I think Greene starts the season. He may finish as the starting quarterback. Obviously, I think the install issue is important. And we're not going to see the install periods in practice. They are letting media in some, but mostly, of course, they're not going to show them the new stuff. And that's where we're getting the two-back sets, splitting guys out into the slot. The offense is going to be close to what Greene ran 2 years ago, but they have to make some changes. They have to accommodate what we've got at receiver, what we've got at running back. So we are changing things, and that always messes with the quarterbacks. It messes with everybody for a while. But it gives us something to look forward to. Now, so stop talking about it being a boring offense. It's not. It's not going to be. We're going to have fun. Okay, yeah, with the decision making, and of course, yeah, decision making is the number one factor. For one thing, if you don't make the right decision, you can't make the right play. So it starts with the right decision, then execution. And of course, part of the decision is who executes. Because if you make the right decision but don't execute, you don't start or you don't play. I think that's where Marchiol is right now. He makes the right decision. Execution is not bad, just a bit hesitant, which makes it look bad some of the time. So I have a feeling that Reagan is being both honest and right when he says we're in a good spot. I believe in these guys, and that means the quarterbacks, the team, the coaches. It's been a long time getting here, but it has been following a plan. And I think that makes a difference. This has not just been, there have been changes in the plan because Brown learns. People claim Brown doesn't change. Nonsense. He has learned and adapted every single year. It's some of the fans who don't seem to learn or adapt. We hear the same dang thing over and over. The same claim that Brown is saying and doing the same thing over and over. And then guess what? The evidence shows the fans are wrong. Brown is right. He's the guy who knows what he's doing. And I'm glad he's the coach rather than some of these fans sitting on the couch. I'm looking forward to a good season, maybe a big season. I'm looking forward to Penn State. It may not go the way I'd like it to go, but I'm looking forward to it anyway. And I'm looking forward to the whole season and the bowl game that I expect to follow. We've got a scrimmage coming up later today. Don't know when we'll get feedback on it, but when we do, you know you'll be hearing from me. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. And I'll see you later. Are we done? Are we done? Okay.